Just got to text my husband a bit. I don't want to record this whole thing and then realize I didn't do it. He says yes. Hello, everybody. So it is pretty late tonight. This is actually the first time I have recorded a podcast since I launched the podcast, which if you're thinking in your head, wait a second, I've been listening every week, how is that possible? I batch recorded like a dozen podcast episodes before I even announced the India and Stuff podcast. So I wanted to like get ahead of myself basically. And so I have content through the end of this month. This is March 2024. But this week I left as a blank one, as a wild card, because I knew it would be after the Oscars and a few weeks into my podcast journey. So I kind of intentionally left this week blank for some live updates that kind of were more up to date with life. And I just think it's funny because I had a very busy weekend and was like, kids, sorry, we have 5 cats. I'll tell you in a second. But I kind of left this one blank because I was like, okay, I'll just record this. And then the weekend started happening. And here it is, Monday night. It's literally Monday night at 11 p.m. And I launched these things Tuesday morning at 6 a.m. So I have to record this and then I'm going to go edit and then I'm going to write the email and queue it up for all the platforms. But anyway, this is my first one that's kind of been live, you know, kind of up to date. So, hey, it's good to see you all and talk to you guys, actually, because now I know who some of you are by name who are listening to my show. So I'm so excited. So thanks for being here. I've got my water. I'm doing well on my water journey. This week I have been failing to reach my goal on my dehydration journey, which, if you remember, has been my only New Year's resolution. And I'm thankfully doing a little bit better, but I'm pretty dehydrated. So hopefully I'm not obnoxiously sipping on my Stanley this whole time, but who knows. Today, I just wanted to talk about some fun topics. So this should be an easy listen if you're on your commute or if you're making dinner today or whatever you're doing, folding laundry. Hopefully this can just be kind of like an easy chat episode. But I want to chat on the Oscars, the Academy Awards. The Oscars took place last night on Sunday, March 10th. And I had a little viewing party at my friend's house with Ian. So it was super fun. And we have some thoughts about the Oscars. I have thoughts about some of the looks people wore, some of the social commentary going on through the night, and just I love kind of talking about, I don't know, celebrity culture and like what's happening in the world. So I personally love award shows, so I thought it'd be fun to dive into the fashion, the movies, and some of the moments that I really enjoyed about the Academy Awards. And I'm also just going to give a brief life update because a couple of things have changed since we've started podcasting. So you can get some updates. Like I said a second ago, we have 5 cats at our house currently. So we're going to play the intro song and then we'll dive into what's happening in the McHugh world. Let's do it. All right, so if you see some extra cats, here's what happened. A couple weeks ago, a photographer peer, I was gonna say like photographer friend, but honestly, like I don't really know her. We met one time at a styled shoot, but that's about it. So you follow someone on social media and she posted that their apartment actually caught on fire. Thankfully, her and her partner and their 3 kids were not in the house, but the apartment caught on fire and their 3 cats were there. And so the insurance is like, hey, we can put you guys, in a hotel for the next few weeks while we basically deep clean your apartment, get these walls back to where they need to be, take all the smoke out of the atmosphere and off all the items. But obviously your pets can't go with you. So she posted something on Instagram and was like, I have 3 cats that need temporarily rehomed until we get back into our place. Can someone help me out? And I ambitiously thought, hey, we have a 2,000 square foot home. We have 2 cats. We love cats. We were joking about getting more cats. We have no kids. What's the big problem here? Like, we can just add your cats to our cats and it'll be fun. And so I brought this up to Ian as like, hey, let's like basically foster these cats. He was like, girl. He's like, I don't know if that's a good idea. So took a little convincing. He was still like, not really on board. But I was like really thinking that this would be a good idea because more cats, like why not? And so finally he said, yes, let's try it. As long as, he's on one condition, you have to do all the litter and you have to take care of it. And I was like, I got you. I'm going to do this. So then we add these 3 cats, Kiyoshi, Kimmy, and Taco, into our mix of Appa and Noom. And it's going as expectedly as I thought it would. I think they're finally getting along, but once in a while they still like to bap each other and fight with each other. So it's been a little frustrating, not frustrating, that's not the right word. It's been a little bit more involved than I was hoping in some of the regards, because not every cat is like as self-soothing as ours. So some of them have personalities and want to be involved and want to hit each other and chase each other. So it's been kind of interesting, but I have gotten some good cuddles with them in. Some of them are still a little skittish, but you guys, something that was so funny was like a week ago, we had a actual tornado, like 3 different tornadoes that hit central Ohio, which is, classic Ohio weather. And the tornado siren goes off. We live right next to the tornado siren, immediately across the street from it. And so we're sleeping, and it's like 5 a.m., and this thing just starts blaring through our windows. So it's like, well, we cannot go back to sleep now, and we should probably take this somewhat seriously. So we're like Googling, we're like, should we go in our basement? What should we do? And so we grab our cats and go down there, and then we're like, we're literally cat sitting, and these cats have already survived a fire. We cannot just like leave them up here to get potentially smushed by a tornado. We go up, we grab the rest of them. We put all 5 cats and ourselves in our really jankety, nasty basement, which is basically, a mildew closet. And we're sitting down there for an hour while we're like waiting for these sirens to stop. And all the cats are like, grr, like growling at each other. I was like, this is insane. So that's been our current vibe at the McHugh household so far. It's been interesting. But it's also been a heck of a lot of fun in a weird, chaotic way, like in a way you would expect. Also, some other random updates and chaos. We've had so many issues, guys, like with cars and just all these random things. We were leaving church yesterday, and we both had to go somewhere separate afterwards. I had 2 back-to-back photo sessions, and Ian was just headed home to clean up the house a little bit, like it's Sunday. And we leave, and I get in my car, and it had, driven totally fine on the way to church. And I like put it in reverse, and it makes this ka-thunk sound, like really awkward sound. And then a new warning came on. And granted, the check engine light's been on for over a year. We took it in, never got it fixed. They couldn't figure it out. So it's been this whole journey. So I immediately call Ian. I was like, did you leave the parking lot yet? Because my car is not going to move. So like the amazing, heroic man he is, he swapped vehicles with me so I could take the other car that is his parents' hand-me-down SUV. So not, much better, but honestly, like such a great vehicle to have on hand. Is a bigger vehicle than my little car. And I'm driving it from church to my photo shoot. And I need to like put this out there in the world. I need to explain my situation. I am stopped at a red light on an exit ramp. When you like take the exit and you're just like stopped waiting to get onto the street. My foot is securely on the brake, and I'm just sitting there. And the car in front of me starts to go backwards towards me. And I'm like, what? And so I start like honk, honk. It's still rolling. And I'm like, honk, 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 like trying to get this driver's attention. No brake lights are popping on, nothing. He just keeps sliding back and then hits me. Like he just hits my car. He rolls back into this SUV. And I'm literally shocked because this man just hit my car. And so I like roll down the window. He gets out of the driver's side and starts marching up to me and like, not to like, I don't know, assume, but there's that saying that's like, dress to impress. Like his pants were like halfway down his bum. So I was like, but he did not dress to impress, which is fine. We've all been there, but I'm like, yikes. This could be like sleepy driver vibes, could be high driver vibes, could just be like not put together. So he's like, you know, holding his pants with like one hand and marches up to my car and is like, you just hit me. And I'm like, sir, you just hit me. You just rolled into my vehicle. What do you mean? He's like, my car's not moving now. I'm like, yeah, it's in park. You were not in park. You literally were probably driving a stick and like took your foot away and rolled into me. So anyway, his passenger also got out of the car and started marching toward me. I was like, what are y'all gonna do? Like, I'm literally not at fault here and you just bumped into me. Then the light turned green. He looks and makes sure that there was nothing cracked and then just jumps in his car and drives away. You guys, the audacity of this man. Thankfully, I pull over later and check. No damage was done, so it's not a big deal at all. But it's the principle of the matter. Like, you do not back up into someone or take your foot off the clutch. I don't know how to drive a stick. Take your foot off the something and roll into someone's car. Kids, see, they're fighting with each other. And then blame the other person? No, not in my world. No, not cool. So that was my yesterday. And yeah, so we have car troubles and both of our vehicles are getting up to 200,000 miles. It's one of those frustrating points where it's like, I don't really feel like financing a car right now. But what are you gonna do? We gotta go somewhere. So those are kind of some life updates, guys. I also shot my first wedding of the season 2 weeks ago, and it was really cold. It was freezing. It was on a February weekend, and it snowed. It was a cute wedding, though. It was really fun. It was actually for one of my former coworkers. We used to be baristas together at Starbucks back in the day, and she got engaged last fall and asked me to shoot the wedding, which was fun. So it was a really fun time, but it was uprising. So we're already back into weddings, which is insane. You guys, I have like 32, 34 weddings. I've kind of lost count at this point. Pray for me. But I'm at capacity, which is great. And if you don't know that, if you're listening the first time, I'm a wedding photographer. That's my full-time job. But I'm at capacity for this year and really trying to put some destination weddings on the books for 2025. So I have some fun free wedding deals I'm promoting on Instagram. So if you guys have seen any of those, take me up on it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do free wedding photos for a couple lucky couples for select locations. So make sure you check those out as well. But I'm not here to chat weddings. I'm not here to chat cats anymore. We are gonna talk about the Oscars, the Academy Awards 2024. Let's do it. First of all, I just need to say that I personally love award shows. I don't know what it is. I love them. I love when people get dressed up. I love these moments in society when, I don't know, you can just kind of see what fashion looks like. It's like a mark in history and you can kind of participate in something going on. I like to see what people say in their speeches, what causes they care about, what they bring up, if anyone takes those political moments or I don't know. I kind of disagree with a lot of people who are just leave, politics out of it, or just be the musician, don't be all political, or just be an actor or a sports, a sports player or whatever, an athlete. Don't bring all these things into it. And I'm actually, they're bringing their whole selves. And I think that's something really special. We are images of God. We are full people. And when you just put people in a box and say, hey, don't you make that statement, or don't you wear that weird thing, just entertain me, and then I don't want to hear anything else about what you have to think about. I'm I don't know. I think there's a place for it, and I think I like digging into the causes and things that people care about more than just what they're known for. So anyway, that's all to that to say. I do love award shows. I love watching the Oscars. I think I've watched them since I was probably 10 years old. I love seeing the clips of the films and learning about cinema and just kind of diving into that world. We have been trying for the last couple of years to watch all the Best Picture nominations every year. I don't think I've ever done it. So we got close this year, but we still have a few more to go to get through our list. But every year I do end up watching the one that wins, probably for the last decade or so. And it's just always fun. I don't know, it's just fun. So I love the Oscars, I love award shows. I was also talking to a friend about this today, that if I had done something not artistic, I probably would have gotten a degree in anthropology or like studying human behavior or something like that, something with social science, because I really think it's interesting to see patterns and how that occurs in fashion and film and culture. And I think Oscars, Grammys, Golden Globes, those award nights, you can kind of get that taste of what's everyone thinking about, talking about, and kind of get to know, in a weird way, like know your neighbor more. So it is slightly delulu of me, but I also just, Ian and I really feel like we're called to and drawn to Hollywood in a, not in like the LA sense of Hollywood, but in the film industry, entertainment industry. I feel like that's where we will, we are technically already participating in, some degree. And I feel like that's kind of a great ministry tool and opportunity to like get to know those neighbors, so to speak, and love them and see the things that they care about that God probably also cares about. I don't know. I just don't think entertainment is all lost to the, sinful ways of the world. I think there's a lot of redemption that can happen there, and I am delusionally thinking that I'm a part of it, but who knows? So I watched the Oscars last night with our friend Taylor, who's an actress, and Ian, and it was a lot of fun. I think it was a great award show overall. I really was pleased with all the, winners and things like that, but I do have a couple little hot takes that I wanted to throw in there. First of all, I know that Barbie was like the film of the summer of 2023. It was a box office smash. Obviously, there was fantastic marketing involved in the Barbie movie. The cast was a lot of fun. We love Margot Robbie, Ryan Gosling nailed it, all that good stuff. But, and if you've heard our thannkkk podcast, you've probably heard me already say this, but I was not like a huge Barbie fan. Like the movie didn't like stick the landing for me. I feel like it was a second draft of what could have been a phenomenal feminist-leaning, women-empowering film. And to me, just for me personally, like, I didn't think that the jokes landed very well. I didn't think that the plot was succinct and punchy as it could have been. And as far as being a Best Picture nominee, when you think of like best of the best films, I was shocked that it got nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars, like genuinely shocked. And I was like, I felt that way when I watched it in theaters. I was like, that was a fun, like family-friendly film. It's got the feminist undertones. Like some people will probably be upset about this or this, but like overall, it was pretty good. But then when like it got nominated, and I love Ryan Gosling, but like nominated for Best Supporting Actor? Or was it lead? He was like up there, you know what I mean? I was like, what? Like, I don't know. So I was a little surprised. I feel like costume design and production design, those nominations made sense. I would have been fine if those won, all good. But yeah, I was pretty shocked at that. I don't know, I even watched it again, the day before the Oscars to be like, did I miss something? And I didn't. I don't know. It was just not, boom, like Oscar worthy in my book. It just is so campy and so different, which is fine, but there's just something, with the plot and some of the writing even that I was like, I mean, America Ferrera's speech is perfect. It's fantastic. But some of the other things, it just felt more like a Mattel apology video, and it didn't know how it felt about Barbie at the end of it. It was like, are we celebrating women and motherhood and all that makes up a girl? Or are we apologizing that this Barbie has made it hard for women to be women, but then the Barbies themselves are aware of the stereotypes of Barbie, but trying to not, but want it to be a girl world, but also don't want to kick the men out? I don't know. I like the themes. I just don't think it was like the best execution ever. Anyway, I've ranted about that on other episodes of podcasts, so you can catch more of my thoughts there. But overall, like I said, marketing for the film was excellent. I think the marketing for Barbie and thus Barbenheimer to help bring Oppenheimer into the mix really made both of those films box office successes. I know Christopher Nolan did an amazing job on Oppenheimer, and they definitely deserved the Best Picture win, as well as sweeping a lot of the other categories. But I was kind of saying to Ian the other day, like, I don't know if Barbie didn't occur the same weekend. I don't know if it would have been as big of a box office hit, but Oppenheimer was definitely an excellent film and very masterfully made. And I think, I don't know, you just hold those two next to each other and you're just like, what? I don't know, how are these in the same category? But those are the things I'm curious about is like when we think about like social patterns, obviously one was appealing to a wide audience, like women make up half of the population, right? So you've got all these women and girls and hopefully a lot of really amazing men who were interested in the Barbie movie. So you have this social pressure of like, we have to see this movie win, and there's this hype that's surrounding it. And I think sometimes if we isolate these things and pull away the social aspects. Do you hear these cats? Do you hear this? This is crazy. Taco, knock it off, buddy. Go cool it. This is what Ian was talking about. Sometimes the woman is not always right. Anyway, I just think sometimes our social patterns and the mob mentality can be a good thing, but can also sway us away from our own individual thinking. We've seen this in all kinds of circumstances, right? We've seen this in COVID, we've seen this in history. But even when you think of something like Barbie, like I wanted to love it. And all my friends were like, I love it, it's amazing. And I watched it, and I was like, yeah, it was good. It just wasn't like it. And I think that happens a lot in times like these. But in other Oscar news, there's another film that I have a hot take opinion about. I don't know how you guys think. I'm going to talk about the film Poor Things, and there's going to be spoilers, so if you haven't watched it and you really want to watch it, I don't know why, but I'm going to spoil some things. Holy heck, guys. Wow. And not a good well. I love Emma Stone. I think her acting is natural and authentic and robust. She does an amazing job bringing emotion and humor and wit and charisma to like every single character. She did that obviously in Poor Things. Like, of course she would, why wouldn't she do her amazing job? But the movie itself is objectively terrible. It was so bad. I give it points for uniqueness and it's very original, but it was so bad. Like, it was just not good. I don't know. It's one of those things, again, with this mob mentality of like, I'm really surprised that so many people are praising this movie. First of all, the plot is basically a pregnant woman passes away, and they take the child's brain in her womb, this like unborn baby's brain, and put it in her body. It's obviously fantastical and otherworldly. And so this full-grown body of a woman has a child of a brain. Already, you can explore that. Film is not about real life. We're allowed to, explore weird things in film. But there is an instant element of, okay, this could get really weird really fast. Especially if we think about, like, this is a baby in a woman's body. Let's just, think about that for a second. So you can take that film any way you want to go. I didn't really know that going into the film. I had literally only seen the commercial. I saw the colors. I like Mark Ruffalo. I like Emma. And I was like, cool, we'll just watch this movie. It'll be great. So we got tickets to the theater and go. And apparently, the film is very much about this woman kind of like having a sexual awakening. And then you think about the element of this is a child, basically an infant child, and then a young toddler, and then a young tween girl. Like, ew, guys, think about that. Like, this is getting into no-go zones for disgusting things. So it's just not the vibe. Obviously, again, Emma's acting was, awesome. But then you also have like not just like a couple sex scenes, which you can see that in cinema all the time, and you're like, all right, like not ideal, but intimacy scenes, it makes sense. Or, oh, this is moving the plot forward. Or, oh, their characters are making this wrong choice or this right choice or whatever, right? This is not new information. Listen to our cinema cue to hear our thoughts. But this movie, I would say, is 45% sex scenes, if not more. Almost the entire third act is a sex scene. Like, I never asked to see Mark Ruffalo's butt. Like, I didn't ask for that. I didn't want to see that. I didn't ask for that. So it was just uncomfortable, like, I don't know, just not my vibe at all. So it's like really hard for me to like look at this movie, which is already weird and quirky, and the sets were whimsical and kind of fun, but like just wacky. And some of the dialogue wasn't really making a lot of sense to me either. So I'm like really trying to like, I love good cinema, and I'm just sitting here trying to watch it, and I'm like, this is weird. And I really was trying my best to stay focused. And then Ian was like, I think I want to leave the theater. And I was like, oh, we're about halfway through. I really want to stick it out. Like, everyone's praising Emma Stone's performance. Everyone's nominating Mark for an Oscar, and, the makeup and the hair and the wardrobes. And yeah, it was rough. Like, it was just not a film that I understand why you need to tell a story like that. Again, I think there's tasteful ways we can do intimacy scenes. I think there's appropriate time and place for those, but this whole like wacky self-discovery sexuality journey, it's just kind of wacky. Granted, there were some fun moments with her outfits. I loved the costume design. I loved the big puffy sleeves that Bella's character wears. I love her discovering some of the really dark parts about humanity. There's a really specific scene where Emma's acting was 10 out of 10, and she just kind of realizes like the lowest of the low of humanity and how they're treated by the people she's with, and kind of this very stark socioeconomic divide of, hey, we're up here and they're down there. And she tries to do something to help them. And I really felt like, okay, wow, like that is something I can get behind. It's like some of these themes really are good and important, but I don't know, y'all, it was just not it for me. So I was very, like, just genuinely surprised that it got as much praise as it did. But Emma did win the Oscar for her role in it, and I do, appreciate her work as an actress. I just think that movie was nuts. It's just insanity. So that's Poor Things. And then I do have my one last kind of thought on Oscars. Killers of the Flower Moon. Wow. An amazingly powerful film. Very emotional, very gripping, very honest, sorrowful, well put together. It's definitely a film people should watch, for sure. It was one of my favorites, for sure, of this lineup. And I still need to go watch Anatomy of a Fall, The Holdovers, and Zone of Interest. But Killers of the Flower Moon was very, very just exceptional. Lily Gladstone is, I believe, the first Indigenous actress to be nominated for Best Actress, which is such an amazing honor. And just knowing what that means, just, in my little pea-sized brain, I can't imagine how beautiful of a moment that is for her and her community. It was such a well-done film. I was very surprised it wasn't nominated for more, and I was very surprised that Leo was not nominated for his work in it, because 4 times throughout the film I stopped Ian. I was like, he was nominated, right? And he was not. I'm aghast. He did excellent. She did excellent. Both were amazing. I just am a little bummed. She did such a great job. Her performance was stoic and powerful and succinct, but a lot of the times where she had a very emotional opportunity to act, the director chose a really wide shot, and so I feel like we couldn't get to see everything she was bringing to the table because of some of the directorial choices. So just an interesting vibe of, she did an amazing job, but I wish that the cinematography would have allowed us to experience that more. But that is such a great film, such an important and heartbreaking story. So then that brings me to some of the Oscar moments that I found really interesting from my little anthropological point of view. Obviously, it's no secret that right now there's a huge war going on in the Middle East, Israel and Palestine, and also war going on with Russia and Ukraine still, which has been a long time that one's been going on as well. And I am not going to pretend like I am a professional or an expert in international war and crime and all these things that have been conflicts and going on for a very long time. But I think it's pretty hard to be someone who especially walks in the Christian faith and doesn't, promote peace whenever they can. And so this is one of those moments where I feel like I am, absolutely 110% like trying to find the most Christ-like path and language forward with all of this stuff. And some days I'm like, I just feel like we should all be pacifists. Like, I really feel like that's kind of Jesus's goal. I don't know. But I was really grateful to see so many people who did win awards either have like pro-peace ceasefire pins on, or kind of were able to insert their heritage, whether that be Jewish or Palestinian or Ukrainian, and mention some of like their desire for peace and for the end of conflict, and to promote things that I think God really cares about. So it's been interesting. It's just always interesting. This is a political year, so there's like, people are already on edge a little bit, but then we've got literal war unfolding on different corners of the planet. And of course, I like fashion and I like getting into that world a little bit, and the arts, and just kind of exploring those themes and topics and seeing what happens in culture. But there is this, it's impossible to ignore this giant disparity of this highbrow social event, and people are dying and suffering around the world. This isn't a new topic. This happens all the time, every day. The world is very large. And I think it's simultaneously heartbreaking and a good reminder that God puts us in specific places to use our voice and care for our communities where we're at. So we can only do so much, but I do think it's important to do something, whether that's education, celebration, loving your neighbor, I think is the most important. So anyway, I'm just kind of rambling through my thoughts tonight because there's a lot going on in my brain. But those are kind of my little tidbits for you guys today. If you guys have any thoughts about the Oscars fashion, I am all ears. I will say I loved Emma Stone's look. I feel like that color was like perfect for her color theory. If you guys have been watching those like color theory fashion vibes, and they're like showing what season you're in, you're like, May, true winter? No idea what I am. They kind of give me a headache, honestly. I'm just gonna wear certain colors and play around with other colors. Like, I'm not gonna not wear a color just because someone on the internet says it doesn't look good on me. Are you kidding? But I thought that look was perfect. Ariana Grande's look, giant pink bubblegum comforter vibe, perfect look. It looked like I could just sit down in it and you'd have like a beanbag to go. Love it. Yeah, I feel like overall the looks were pretty clean, and a lot of simple black and white looks in a lot of recent carpets, which has kind of been a little disappointing. I mean, like, some of them are really cool, but I just think everyone's been playing it a little too safe, maybe. I don't know. I love Zendaya's, but I didn't love the palm tree fabric that much. But she's just like, oh, her Dune press tour outfits. Honey, those are some cute looks. Wow, she's like just an icon. Yeah, I did like the I'm Just Ken performance. That was a lot of fun too. I really was hoping Ryan Gosling was just gonna like rip off his jacket at the end and like swing it around just to be ridiculous, but alas, he did not. Last thing about the Oscars, really fast, whoa, words. I am absolutely shocked that Iron Claw with Zac Efron did not get nominated for anything. That film was powerful and strong, and an amazing depiction of not only a true life story, but toxic masculinity in a male-driven family. Like, in the same year that Barbie, I was like, why are we not also aware of this. Like, it was a very, very good film and very emotional, and I think Zac Efron's best performance yet. But what do I know? Anyway, that was my night at the Oscars. I really hope one day that I win one. I know that's also another delulu statement, but I have always wanted to win an Oscar. I've practiced my speech in the shower. I've practiced it in the car. I've thought about all the things I could say. I totally would like absolutely lose my mind if Jennifer Lawrence handed it to me. I don't know what I would do, but I used to think I'd win one for animation because I thought I was going to be a Disney animator, and then I realized there was a lot of math involved in animation. I was like, that's not my thing. So that's when I pivoted to like marketing, graphic design, and then obviously ditched that degree, and now I'm an entrepreneur and a photographer. But I really like it. I don't know if it would be for acting or if I'm going to have another role in the film industry, but I would love to win one day, hopefully with Ian. That'd be so cool. I'm not manifesting it because that's kind of a joke, but I am speaking life and declaring that one day Ian and Andy McHugh take home an Oscar. A little naked gold man. So those are my rambling thoughts tonight. I hope any of this landed with you. If you are like, what is she talking about? She's crazy. It's because I am dehydrated and sleep deprived. But I did want to ask real quick before this episode wraps up, if you guys would do something for me. I would love to start doing guest podcasts, like guests on this podcast, because some of my favorite shows feature, not just one person delusionally talking to a camera. So I thought it'd be a lot of fun to have some interviews on here and just kind of get to know some people in my life or people that you might just want me to interview. So I am gonna have a little poll box. I think it's gonna pop up here on Spotify. If you're watching here on YouTube, leave a comment below and let me know who you would like me to interview. Obviously, if you're gonna like drop a celebrity name, we gotta be realistic, guys. We gotta be realistic a little bit today. That's probably not gonna work. But if there's someone that you know personally or that you know I know and you want me to talk to them, whether that's Ian or a friend that I've mentioned, or if you just want me to talk to my cats, okay. Or if it's you and you're like, hey, I have some stuff to say and I think it'd be fun to like do a little chat. Let me know if you guys are interested in any guest interview episodes and we can kind of get those rolling. But thank you so much for listening. I'm going to drink the rest of this water and hurry up and edit this episode for y'all so you can have this thing first thing in the morning. But I hope this has been fun for you. I hope you watch a good award show. Go watch a good film. I love celebrating some cinema and being a part of the storytellers of the world. Wow, I'm getting really sappy. It's time to go. You know it's time to go when I'm getting sappy. Thanks, y'all. I'll see you next week. Bye.